Hi guys, welcome back to my so-called mom life. Today we are getting started, as you may have seen on some previous shorts, on our new project in the garage here. So you can see this is a garage space and full of junk right now, but eventually it's going to be something beautiful. We are actually building a section so we can have a rescue here in our home for animals, kittens, dogs, fish, you name it, anything that we can help out with. So we are going to partner with some rescues, things like that. More to come on that in the future, but I wanted to show you guys the step-by-step on how we build it. So if you guys are interested in doing something like this DIY project, in this case it's going to be building a wall. So let me get started with that and show you exactly what we're doing. All right, so yes, I know this isn't the typical thing we do on this channel, but since it is Devin's channel and my so-called mom life, and this is her project, I wanted to show you guys the actual step-by-step on how to do this. So what we're getting started with today is actually framing out a wall. So let me actually bring you in a little bit closer and show you exactly where this wall is going and how we're gonna do it. All right, so as I mentioned, we are taking out all of this stuff. So we are going to have a fairly decent sized space. It's going to be about 8 foot wide, and then it's going to go all the way down. So a pretty good section. We'll be able to put multiple areas in there. So we're going to put the wall right here where we already have an existing wall there. So we're going to jump right off that edge. And you can see I've already kind of started by putting in a new header. So you see the joist there, we've got what we call a header board. So we're going to run that all the way down. We're going to have the wall all the way there. And you can see here yesterday off of Facebook Marketplace, I was able to locate a door with the frame intact. This is an exterior door because this is a garage and it's cold out here. So a couple of things to keep in mind when building or framing out a wall. You want a double header stud. So you have one and then two. Let me show you kind of up there. You see that? You have two header studs, right? And then since we are putting a door in this wall, you need to know A, the size of the door that you're using, and B, where you're going to put it. We're going to go 4 foot over, put our door in, and then we're going to go the rest of the way with our wall. Now typically what you would do in building a wall is build it on the ground right here as one whole long one, even with the door jamb framed out. And then you actually would lift that up and tack it into place. So we are not going to do that. We're going to be building this one in sections, just given that I don't have the space to pull all of this junk out at the same time. So we'll be kind of working in parts, and then we will be drywalling, insulating, drywalling, running some electrical. So a lot to learn here that, again, I am not an expert. I am a handyman on the side, but for the most part, this is all DIY, and I'll show you how to do it and how to do it safely. So let's get started. What we're going to do here is start by just framing out our 4 foot section of our wall and putting it in place. And then we'll do the other larger wall, and then we'll frame our header for the door. That's called a header right there. We're going to be doing it a little bit differently. There are 2 ways to do it, and I'll show you. That is a big 2x6 board there. We're not going to be doing that. Instead, we'll be doing a double 2x4. But I am going to show you how to frame out what's called a king stud. That's the one on the right, and a jack stud, which is the one on the left, and we're going to need to do that on both sides of our wall before we do that. So you see how right up here the king stud runs all the way up on the right, but the jack stud stops just at the top of the door jamb. And that's what we're going to be doing today, is running both of those boards along with our wall, and then we'll do the same on the other side for our larger wall. But if we can get this one in that'll show we're making some good progress to get started. So, all right, so a couple of things. So the best way is always to put your top plate on like that if you can, okay, because you usually won't have a screw long enough to screw through both of your plates. Plus, so you want to have that plate in place first. And then as you can see here with that top plate, it's actually resting on your joist, okay? In this particular case, that is just a standard 2x4 joist. This is a garage, okay? So we've screwed that top plate in there. That's a 14-foot board that I've got on there, but you would measure out your space. Now from there, you want to take a level, okay? And sometimes you don't have a long enough level, so you can take two levels together and set them side by side, and then you want to mark your floor where your level, so that way you have a line across to make sure that it's plumb. Now what we're going to do is actually plumb it when we put the wall up. We'll put our level against it and make sure it's plumb and in place. The line is always better because that way you have a place to kick to. Next, you want to measure your floor to ceiling and understand how long your boards need to be. So we want to measure from our floor up to our top plate that we've installed. And for me, that is 100.5. So I've got 100.5 inches. Now, with that, you need to subtract your 2x4s that are going to be your top plate and your bottom plate. So now we know that a standard 2x4 is 1.5 inches thick. Now 1.5 inches plus 1.5 inches equals 3 inches. So we know that our boards need to be cut to a length of 100.5 minus 3 inches, which gives us 97.5 is how long. Now a standard 8-foot 2x4 is 96 inches. Or we won't get away with an 8-foot 2x4. We would need just a little bit longer than an 8-foot 2x4. So let's see what we got. All right, so that's part one, just showing you guys a little bit about the build and what we're going to be doing. And then if you want to check out part two, the actual wall build, then make sure you like and subscribe so that way you can see exactly how we do this. One last tidbit here, that bottom plate there that we are working on should be, by code, for any concrete, whether this be a basement, garage, whatever, needs to be a ground contact board or a pressure treated ground contact green board is what they call that. So recommend you pick those up for your base plate. Just the base plate, doesn't have to be for the rest of the wall. All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part two.